Hey friends, Tim Mann here, Church Builders International, bringing you a special teaching today on the biblical subject of benefactors. Did you know benefactors are in the Bible? Yes, they are. I also want to announce to you a great opportunity that's been presented to me. Over 40 years ago, God began to speak to me that the day would come He was going to put me on TV. Now, that was never my goal, all right? I'm not the kind of let's get in front of people person. Only thing I do when I get in front of people is I teach, I preach, I pray, I prophesy. But anyway, God began to speak that to me, and I resigned my heart. The day would come, but I can honestly say I wasn't pursuing it at all. But then God began to work something special to me. He began to give me a special assignment, not with special gifts, but a special assignment. And that assignment actually began in 2006. At a ministers' conference in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And there the Lord spoke through prophecy to me and said that Satan had loosed a horde of spirits of infirmity upon his people, demon spirits of sickness. And, he said to me at that time, you're going to have to learn to deal with this. Well, I said yes to the Lord, and then I went on about my business and promptly forgot about it. Please don't be too hard on me for that, because I'm sure God said things to you and you forgot about it also. But anyway, in 2014, I had an epiphany of sorts. I had a vision, and then I also had a prophecy, and it was about God's people being sick. And He said to me, my people are sick, and I've called you to help me deal with it. Well, after that as an assignment, I really began to study fresh and new the biblical subject of healing, biblical healing. And I went to a pretty good Bible school. Healing was one of the main subject matters that was taught and presented there. But after years and years, decades, if I can say it that way, I guess that I had resigned myself to being more of just a teacher and giving prophetic words of encouragement to people. But I started studying there in November of 2014. By the time I got up to almost June, I realized, whoa, man, there's stuff I never knew about biblical healing in the Bible. So I started an adult Sunday school class in our church here in Traverse City, Michigan. And every Sunday I began to teach for a half an hour before a regular service on the subject of biblical healing, presenting points, presenting how-tos to the people. And then over time I got where I would begin to pray for people. Well, at first nothing seemed to happen, but it didn't take too long and people began to get healed. And so I've continued in that. But here a couple years ago, about 3 years ago, I began to talk to the Lord. Lord, it never says in the Bible to pray for the sick. It says to heal the sick. And I realized that I was doing a lot of praying and only a little bit of healing. And so what I did is I said, I want some answers. I seek you for wisdom. James said in chapter 1, if anyone lacks wisdom, let him ask of God that gives to all people liberally and upbraideth not. So I began to seek God for wisdom, and God started opening up the scriptures to me with the help of some other learned people that I also study after. And I began to realize there was a blueprint in the Bible how to minister healing to people. And so I started doing that, walking that out. And I'll be honest with you, the last year or two, it seems like almost everybody now that I pray for and I minister to is getting healed. Especially, I don't mean small healing. I mean especially very effective with terminal conditions, with cancers and heart disease and things of that nature. And so today what I'm doing is I'm bringing you a great opportunity that has been presented to me. Paul said that the Lord opened, he said, a great and magnificent door to me, even though there are many adversaries, and a door like that has been opened to me. It's been presented to me by a network, a live TV streaming network called Kingdom First TV, to get on that channel with a once a week, half an hour program for the unbelievable price of $300 a month. And so I have said yes, and we're starting the process for that. Still need some equipment and so forth, but we're planning on starting here fairly soon on weekly live stream TV. Now, Kingdom First TV is on Roku. It's on Apple TV. Let's see, it's on Fire TV. It's on LG TV. It's on all kinds of TV streaming services, as well as it's on the Android app and on the Apple app for phones and for tablets. Live streaming television is now becoming the thing as cable begins to kind of go by the wayside. Live stream TV is increasing very dramatically. Well, you know, Chris and I over the years, I've never received offerings to do the things we do. We'd receive offerings for the church so it could function. But Chris and I, we learned to just believe God, and God has taken care of us. We've lived a comfortable and peaceable life. But for projects like this, I would never receive an offering. But this time God started talking to me. He said, it's time for me, talking about him, to have benefactors to take care of the finances for this project. And I want to teach a little bit on what a benefactor is. Did you know the word benefactor is actually in the Bible? Well, the Greek word's in the Bible. Yes, the English word's used one time, but the Greek word is used on more than one occasion. And so we're going to look up the famous verse that has this Greek word benefactor in it. This is in Acts chapter 10, verse 38. Acts 10:38. And it says how God anointed Jesus of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and power, who went about doing good and healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for God was with him. Notice it says he went about healing all that were oppressed of the devil, not praying for all that were oppressed of the devil, but healing. You know, as Christians, we do a lot of praying for people with little results. Jesus went and healed people, and everybody that he ministered to was healed and received healing. Well, let's look for this word benefactor. I notice here that it's not, the word itself is not used in this verse. But it is. It's used in the Greek. And it is the two words, doing good. Doing good. It's a Greek word, euergetes, and it's the word in English, benefactor. It means to do good, to confer benefits on others. It also later in time became a title of honor confirmed on such as had done their country a service. Jesus was a benefactor of doing good and healing. Healing was what the good was, especially that he did, conferring healing, the benefit of healing, on other people. Healing was what he was giving. He wasn't necessarily giving money, but he was giving healing. You know, sometimes a good healing is worth a whole lot of money, thousands and thousands of dollars. And, in Jesus' day, there was a woman in Mark's Gospel in chapter 5, said that she had an issue of blood 12 years. And boy, is a heart-rending talk about that. It says that she had spent all she had on physicians and was nothing better, but rather grew worse. 12 years of getting worse and worse and worse, and spent all of her existence, all of her resources on doctors. Things haven't changed a lot in 2,000 years. I mean, sickness can come upon us, and it just seems to take almost every penny we have. It takes all of our energy. It steals from us living life. It depletes our physical strength. Sickness is a terrible thing. And God does not want people sick. He didn't want them sick in Jesus' day, and he doesn't want them sick in our day. That's why he said to his disciples, now you go and you pray for the sick. You drive out these demons and you heal the sick. And so that's what I've been learning to do now these last couple years, healing the sick. And I'm astounded sometimes at the results, but it's not a mystery anymore. There's a blueprint in the Bible. There's a roadmap on how to heal the sick. And I started following the blueprint, and people started getting healed. Well, I'm ready now to go on TV and begin to minister and teach people this for a half an hour every week for maybe the rest of my life. I still travel some. I'm going to continue to do that, and I'm shifting my traveling ministry into being more of healing events. There are sick people wherever I go that don't want to be sick. I love teaching. I love teaching the entire Bible. There's so many things in the Bible that are important, that really kind of wind me up, so to speak. But we need to begin to minister health and healing to people. God's people are sick, my friends, and they are dying at a very rapid rate. And so we want to begin to do that. Healing was what Jesus gave to other people. God still sends benefactors today to bless His people. Acts chapter 10, or Romans chapter 10 says, "How shall they hear without a preacher?" And verse 15 says, "How shall they preach except they be sent?" So in Jesus' day, there were people like Joanna, Susanna, Mary Magdalene that ministered to Him out of their substance. We find many of them did that, all right? Then we find during the days of the early church, people brought money, laid it at the apostles' feet, and they distributed it according to the need of the gospel. That's what benefactors are. It's okay, God sends me as a minister, but God uses people to pay the bill to send me. Does that make sense? You know, it's kind of humbling to say I can't fulfill this portion of my call without the help of some folks. And so I've come to you today ask if you would simply begin to pray. Number one, pray that I would have the resources to be able to get on the TV and continue. I don't want to be one of them preachers that's on TV for 30 minutes and spends 20 minutes of it trying to raise money from the people he's ministering to on TV. I guess part of me says that's just not appropriate. The TV is not that expensive. Some of the new equipment we need to get to do it in a quality way, that's a little more expensive, a few $1,000s. But you know, really it's a matter of just doing the work. And so benefactors are those who partner with the preachers who say, okay, here's what we're going to do now. Really what we're doing, we're becoming a benefactor of the Lord Jesus Christ's ministry here in this earth. And so we are committing to Him. We're not really committing to the preacher. We're committing to the mission that He has given to the preacher so that these things can be accomplished, so that God's community, His kingdom, can be advanced in the world. Benefactors are not people that have tens of thousands of dollars that they're giving away every month. Most benefactors maybe are giving 5, 10, 25, maybe 50, 100 or more. But you know, it isn't the amount. It's our faith being released that we are being a partner with God, a benefactor of His kingdom, the advancement of His kingdom, and that we commit ourselves to that. I don't ask you to take your tithe away from your local church. That wouldn't be appropriate. But all of us need to learn to give outside of that which benefits us. Just feeding the poor in your block isn't the same as feeding the poor in another town or another country. No, because you have no benefit by helping those people a long way from you. But close to you, some of those people you may know, and feeding the poor there, that may benefit you. Being a benefactor isn't necessarily for you, though God richly rewards His benefactors. Chris and I have been benefactors for years for other people, other ministries, and we're very thankful that we have been able to do that. So it's not the amount. What it is you making that dedication, I'm going to be part of spreading the gospel of God's kingdom around the world. And so down here at the bottom, there's a place where you can make a donation. And when you do that, you can use credit card, debit card, PayPal, Venmo, or Venmo. You can tell it's a Cash App. I don't use it very much, but we're getting set up now and it's already ready to go. And so you can use any of those. So just make a footnote and just put on there TV. And I'll know what you're doing. I'll know what you're talking about. And our staff will take that and put it in the right place. And then we're also going to put you on a special mailing list. I think there's hardly any information we get from you, but I think one of it is your email address. Now you can also just send it in, okay? The mail address also. But you know, the email address, I'm going to put you on a special list, if that's okay. Not going to bombard you. Going to send out a monthly little letter about how things are going, what we're doing, what we're seeing. and also a special teaching on biblical healing that will be just for you, just for the benefactors of our ministry. And for all these things, all we can say is thank you. Thank you, number one, for just praying for us, praying for this to succeed, that doors would continue to open. I'll tell you, the prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Maybe more than the money, the prayers, okay? And then what you give, and it will be added into the pool, and we'll be able to take care of all the responsibilities and needs to fulfill this. I'm not trying to plan my retirement on this, all right? No, I just want to help people. I want to be able to do what God's called me to do. And now, I can honestly say since 2014, what God has prepared me to do, to bring His divine healing power to sick Christians, His sons and daughters. Hey, thank you very much for listening to this. Would you mind just after I'm gone here, just pray a few days and see if the Lord, what He would do, or if He would have you do something. Boy, it would be such an encouragement to me. All right, Tim Mann, God bless you. You will be hearing from me again, I'm confident, because we are advancing and bringing a ministry of healing and health to God's people. God bless you.